Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, buckle up, because the NFL offseason always brings surprises, and this year looks no different, especially when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. There's a buzz in the air, a lot of chatter about what the Falcons might do in the trade market, and one of the most talked about topics right now is the potential blockbuster trade that could shake up not only the NFC South, but also the entire league. And to be honest, it's a storyline that fans of the Falcons should be paying close attention to because it involves some of the most intriguing players and strategic moves we've seen in recent years. So, what's the scoop? Well, for quite some time, the focus was on the possibility of trading quarterback Kirk Cousins, who's been linked to several teams and rumors about his contract situation. But now, it seems like the spotlight has shifted a bit. Instead of Cousins, the player generating the most buzz in trade talks is none other than Kyle Pitts, the Falcons' young tight end who was once hailed as one of the most promising prospects in recent memory. And let me tell you, this isn't just idle speculation anymore. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, there's a real possibility that Pitts could be on the move this offseason, and the reasons behind that are quite interesting. Apparently, Pitts is open to a trade if it means landing in an offense that better suits his skill set. Now, that might come as a surprise to some, because Pitts has been a favorite among Falcons fans since his rookie season. He exploded onto the scene with a 1-0-yard campaign in his first year, showcasing his incredible athleticism, size, and hands. But since then, his production has dipped, and many critics have pointed out that the Falcons' offensive system hasn't quite maximized his potential. That said, it's important to note that Falcons management isn't actively shopping Pitts, but sources say they are at least listening to offers, and Pitts himself seems to be open to the idea. This isn't a player requesting a trade out of frustration or dissatisfaction. No, it's more about finding the right fit, the right system where Pitts can truly thrive. And that brings us to the next big piece of this puzzle. What kind of trade are we talking about? Well, some insiders believe that a blockbuster deal could be in the works, involving the Miami Dolphins, a team that's been making waves in the league with their aggressive offseason plans. And the name being floated around as a potential trade partner is none other than Tyreek Hill, one of the most explosive wide receivers in the league. Now, imagine this: Pitts going to Miami in exchange for Hill. Yes, it sounds like a Hollywood script, but it's not as far-fetched as you might think. Mark Morale-Smith from Sports Illustrated pointed out that the Dolphins might be willing to part ways with Hill, especially considering the team's salary cap situation and their long-term roster plans. Hill, who's been a cornerstone of Miami's offense, has a hefty cap hit, and the Dolphins could be looking to unload some of those big contracts to make room for future signings or to rebuild certain areas of the roster. And from Atlanta's perspective, acquiring Hill would be a massive boost. Think about it, adding a player of Hill's caliber, a game-breaker who can take the top off any defense, would elevate the Falcons' passing game to a whole new level. It's not just about the deep passes either. Hill's agility, route running, and playmaking ability would give quarterback Desmond Ridder a true weapon to work with. Plus, it would send a message to the rest of the league that Atlanta is serious about contending, that they're not just building for the future, but also trying to make a splash right now. But it's not just about the on-field talent. There are strategic considerations too. The Falcons have been looking to diversify their offensive attack, and having a versatile tight end like Pitts paired with a speedster like Hill creates all kinds of matchup nightmares for defenses. It's a duo that can stretch the field, create space underneath, and open up running lanes. And let's face it, Atlanta's offense has been a bit inconsistent over the past couple of years, so adding these dynamic playmakers could be exactly what they need to push into the postseason and beyond. Now let's talk a little about Pitts himself. He's only 23 years old, and despite some of the recent struggles, he remains one of the most talented tight ends in the league. His rookie season was nothing short of spectacular, with over 1,000 receiving yards. He looked like a generational talent, a matchup nightmare for defenses. But then, the seasons that followed didn't quite live up to that hype. Injuries, changes in offensive schemes, and perhaps some issues with consistency all played a role. Still, the talent is undeniable. Pitts has rare size, speed, and athleticism, traits that don't come around very often at the tight end position. And here's the thing, if the Falcons can land a player like Hill, or even if they're just exploring the possibility, it signals a shift in their approach. They're not just looking to develop young talent, they're aiming to compete now. And as we know, the NFC South is wide open. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in transition, the New Orleans Saints are rebuilding, and the Carolina Panthers are retooling. So, if Atlanta adds some key pieces this offseason, they could position themselves as serious contenders in 2024. But of course, it's not all about Pitts and Hill. The Falcons have other needs, like improving their offensive line, adding depth at linebacker, and strengthening their secondary. Still, this potential trade scenario is a huge headline because it touches on the core of what Atlanta is trying to do: maximize their offensive weapons, build a team that can challenge the best, and finally break through to the postseason after a few tough years. Now, speaking of the Falcons, recent history, it's worth revisiting where they stand in the big picture. Atlanta has been a team in transition, trying to find stability after the departure of quarterback Matt Ryan and the coaching changes that followed. Desmond Ridder showed flashes last season, but consistency remains a concern. The defense has been solid at times but needs more playmakers. The offensive line has shown improvement but still needs work, especially in pass protection. And that's why any move that can bring in proven stars or young, promising talent is so critical. These are the pieces that can turn a decent team into a playoff contender. Beyond the immediate roster, Atlanta's front office has been smart in their draft strategies, picking players who fit their system and culture. Their scouting department has been aggressive in seeking out underrated talent, and that's a trend we expect to see continue this offseason. Whether it's through trades, free agency, or the draft, the Falcons are clearly aiming to accelerate their rebuild and become a serious threat in the NFC. And let's not forget the impact of such a trade on the fanbase. Falcons fans have been waiting patiently for that breakthrough year, the one where everything clicks and the team makes a deep playoff run. The excitement around acquiring a player like Hill, or even reshaping the offense around Pitts in a new system, could be just what the team needs to ignite that passion again. It's about creating a team that not only competes but also excites the supporters, makes the city proud, and puts Atlanta back on the NFL map as a true contender. Of course, all of this is still speculative. Nothing is set in stone yet, and the NFL offseason is full of surprises. But what's clear is that the Falcons are not sitting idly by. They're exploring options, and the idea of trading Pitts for a veteran like Hill, or making other bold moves, shows they're serious about competing at the highest level. It's a fascinating storyline to follow, and I can tell you, Falcons fans, this could be just the beginning of an exciting new chapter for your team. Now, as we look ahead, the big question is, will Atlanta pull the trigger? Will they make that bold move that could redefine their future? And how will the rest of the NFC South respond? The division has always been competitive, but with these potential shakeups, this upcoming season could be one of the most unpredictable in recent memory. Teams are looking to retool, to find that perfect combination of talent and scheme, and Atlanta's front office seems ready to lead the charge. Remember, the NFL offseason is a time of strategy, of calculated risks, and of aiming for that ultimate goal, winning the Super Bowl. The Falcons have laid down the foundation with strong drafts, smart signings, and now, they might be ready to take that next step through bold trades. Whether Pitts moves or stays, the message is clear. Atlanta is committed to building a team that can compete at the highest level, and they're not afraid to shake things up if it means reaching that ultimate goal. So Falcons fans, keep your eyes peeled. The offseason is just getting started, and this story is far from over. The next few weeks will be crucial, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some surprises that will have a lasting impact on the franchise. That's the beauty of the NFL. Every year, it's a new story, a new chapter, and the Falcons are clearly aiming to write a bold one this time around. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think Pitts will be traded? Would you love to see Hill in the red and black? Or do you think the Falcons should focus on other areas of the team? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news. We're in this together, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for this exciting team.